കയറാറാവും. ഉടൻ തന്നെ റിസഷൻ ആരംഭിക്കുന്നതാണ്. ഇനി പറയുന്ന ക്രമത്തിലായിരിക്കും റിസഷൻ. കുരിശ് വഹിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് മിസ്റ്റർ PA സജിമോൻ, സഭാ കൗൺസിൽ മെമ്പേഴ്സ് മിസസ് മിനി ജോർജ്, മിസസ് ആലീസ് മാത്യു, മിസസ് വത്സമ്മ മാത്യു, മിസസ് ബിനു മേരി ബാബു, മിസസ് ജിജി മാത്യു, ഡോക്ടർ കോശി മത്തായി, ഡോക്ടർ ജോൺ എബ്രഹാം, മേജർ MG വർഗീസ്, മിസ്റ്റർ കുഞ്ഞുവർഗീസ് ചെറിയാൻ, മിസ്റ്റർ ജോസി കുര്യൻ, ഡോക്ടർ ജോൺ മാത്യു, വെള്ള കുപ്പായം ധരിച്ച വൈദികർ റവറൻ തോമസ് മാത്യു വിലങ്ങറ, റവറൻ PA എബ്രഹാം, റവറൻ ജിജി തോമസ്, റവറൻ ജോസഫ് ജോണി, റവറൻ ജോർജൻ മാത്യൂസ് ജോൺ, റവറൻ ജോർജ് യോഹന്നാൻ, റവറൻ P ഫിലിപ്പ്. Office bearers of the church, Mr. PP Achengulle, trustee and treasurer, Reverend Thomas C. Alexander, clergy trustee, Reverend KG Joseph, Sabha secretary. Vicar General, Very Reverend TK Matthew, നടപ്പന്തൽ വഹിക്കുന്നവർ Reverend Matthew John, Reverend George Syrian, Reverend John Matthew C, Reverend Jose പുനമടം. ഏറ്റവും പിന്നിലായി അഭിനവ മെത്രാപ്പൊലീത്ത ഡോക്ടർ തിയഡോഷ്യസ് മാർത്തോമ മെത്രാപ്പൊലീത്ത. റിസഷനുള്ളവർ എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് ക്രമത്തിൽ അണിനിരക്കണമെന്ന് ഓർമ്മിപ്പിക്കുന്നു.
Christ community. In accordance with God's divine will, Right Reverend Dr. Geevarghese MarTheodosius is elevated as Marthoma 22, Metropolitan of the Marthoma Syrian Church on November 14, 2020. This video is produced to celebrate and commemorate the occasion. MarTheodosius was born on February 19, 1949 to Dr. K.J. Chaco and Mrs. Mariama Simoni Chaco of the Kirake Chakalayil family in Ashtamudi. He was named George Jacob. He studied at the Marthoma Seminary School, Kottayam, the Basilius College, Kottayam, and the Marthoma College, Thiruvalla, and obtained his Bachelor of Divinity degree from the Leonard Theological College in Jabalpur. He was ordained as a deacon, Shemashan, on June 24, 1972, and as a priest, Kashisha, Reverend George Jacob, February 24, 1973. His first appointment as a priest was in the St. Thomas Marthoma Church, Santa Cruz, Mumbai. In 1980, he obtained a master's degree in comparative religions from the Vishwa Bharati University in Kolkata, and in 1986 he obtained his PhD, Doctor of Philosophy in Religions, from the McMaster University in Toronto, Canada. While studying in Toronto, he also served as the vicar of the Toronto Parish and neighboring congregations. Reverend George Jacob was elected as a candidate for episcopacy while serving as the vicar of the St. Paul's Marthoma Church, Kozhikode. He was ordained as Ramban on November 4, 1989, and was consecrated as Geevarghese MarTheodosius Episcopa on December 9, 1989.
On July 12, 2020, MarTheodosius was installed as the suffragan Metropolitan of the Marthoma Syrian Church by the then Metropolitan Dr. Joseph Marthoma.
As Episcopa, he took charge of the Madras Kunnamkulam Malabar Diocese. It was during this period that the diocese acquired its new diocesan center, the land for the deaf and dumb school, and land for mission houses and churches. Many evangelists were appointed to serve in these places. He also took the initiative to start the Karnataka mission field and translate the Marthoma liturgy into the Kannada language. He then served as Episcopa of the Thiruvananthapuram Kollam Diocese and initiated projects such as House for the Landless and Homeless, educational help for poor students, rehabilitation of mental patients, Snehathiram for the HIV/AIDS patients, an old age home at Katakada, Compassion International units, new land and building for the Hospital Guidance Center and the Retreat Center at Peringalam. MarTheodosius then served as Episcopa of the Chennai, Bangalore, Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia diocese. Under his tenure, new mission fields were started in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Schemes like marriage aid, education aid, community health work, House for the Houseless were initiated. Under his leadership, steps were also initiated for the development of the Marthoma Center in Bangalore and the Student Center in Chennai. MarTheodosius then took charge as Episcopa of the Diocese of North America and Europe on January 1, 2009. During his tenure, he initiated several projects for the benefit of the second, third, and fourth generations of the Marthoma diaspora within the diocese to stay connected with the faith and practices of the Marthoma Church. The Boys and Covenant Girls program for grooming the younger generations to serve and learn more about the church from a younger age. For the diocesan mission activities, he encouraged parishes and youth groups to start neighborhood mission projects. The mission work among Native Americans was expanded into additional areas. Several steps were taken to improve the living conditions of the residents at Colonia Marthoma, the Mexico mission field in Matamoros, Mexico, which included building kitchen and toilet facilities for each house, bringing electricity and water storage facilities for the residents, encouraging residents to do their own gardening and poultry and pig farming, initiating the Manna project to provide nutritious food for the residents and alleviate their poverty and malnutrition, consecrating the newly constructed chapel at Colonia Marthoma, and translating the liturgy to the Spanish language for conducting regular communion services at Colonia Marthoma. To strengthen the diocese in all its regions, he set up regional activity committees, RACs, in all 8 regions. Some of the RACs have registered within their respective states and undertaken different projects. He also initiated the Young Family Fellowship and Senior Fellowship programs in parishes. For benefiting the clergy who were citizens of countries within the diocese, he revised their pension fund and set up higher studies scholarship. To communicate more effectively with the community using modern technology, he initiated the Bisora, a monthly electronic newsletter of the diocese. The Word for the Day, a daily meditation via the internet. The IT Fellowship, to support the IT community in the diocese, as well as to support the technology needs of the diocese. To commemorate the diocesan Silver Jubilee in 2013, he launched the Going Green project, demonstrating his love of nature and his enthusiasm to preserve and protect it. He planted a tree in most parishes that he visited and urged members to do the same in their own yards. His dedication to being a steward of God's creation follows him wherever he ministers. His ecumenical zeal was evidenced through annual ecumenical fellowship and dinner meetings in various regions of the diocese, in which leaders of various denominations, local leaders, and leaders of national church councils invited to speak. During his tenure in the North America and Europe diocese, the following 8 publications were released. In Search of Christian Identity in Global Community, a Festschrift volume with essays and tributes in honor of Geevarghese MarTheodosius Episcopa PhD, the 2nd edition in April 2009. Worship Order for Special Occasions in 2010. Order of Worship for Divine Service, Holy Kurbana, and other sacraments and rites in 2012. Word for the Day, Daily Meditations, 2012 and 2013. Church Journeying with Christ, a Silver Jubilee publication of the Marthoma Church, Diocese of North America and Europe in 2013. Focus on the Word, Journeying with Christ, Bible Studies in 2013. Beyond the Diaspora, Marthoma Church, Identity and Mission in the Context of Multiplicity, a Festschrift volume to commemorate the Silver Jubilee of MarTheodosius' Episcopacy in 2014. MarTheodosius took charge as the Episcopa of the Mumbai Diocese from April 1, 2016. In the Mumbai Diocese, he worked hard to lead many initiatives such as giving a voice to the downtrodden, especially the Khatkari group of Adivasis who are even excluded by other Adivasis, providing long-term vision and sustainability to the ongoing Navjivan Center's ministries that cater to the needs of the commercial sex workers and aids their rehabilitation, providing long-term sustainability to the Navodaya movement and its work amongst the transgender community to ensure that they are treated on par with other human beings, and enhancing the ministry to the children of the ragpickers community for ensuring they receive good education, good food, and hope for a better future. He has supported and promoted the Save a Heart program, wherein the offertory collected during the episcopal visit to the parishes in the diocese are used to fund the cardiac surgery of financially needy patients. MarTheodosius initiated the Streams of Living Water project for providing drinking water to the people in the arid and drought-struck regions of Maharashtra and in the areas of Aurangabad and Pipalpada. When the massive floods affected his home state of Kerala, MarTheodosius initiated a concerted effort to bring relief materials to the needy. His empathy for others also initiated the Come and Dine project, whereby churches provide food packets to the hungry in their vicinity. By initiating the Go Green Care for the Earth project, MarTheodosius provided a green cover in barren lands by having 5,000 saplings planted in the Navjivan Center Murbad, Lonavala Mar Chrysostom Ashram, and in the institutions and mission fields of the diocese. In place of floral bouquets, MarTheodosius prefers plant saplings, which can be planted in apt places. Continuing with the Green Initiative, under MarTheodosius' guidance, cloth bags were made available by the diocese to encourage each family to switch to reusable, environment-friendly bags and discourage the use of plastic bags. Diocesan circulars, or kalpanas, are issued through electronic means. MarTheodosius also pays keen attention to the development of viable infrastructures to support and enhance ongoing programs. At the Mar Chrysostom Ashram Kamshet, he initiated the construction of the new school building, residence facilities for the director, modern kitchen equipment for the camp center, the pavilion, and asphalt roads. At the Navjeevan Center Murbad, to assist in the holistic upbringing of the resident children, he ensured that the property was fenced and included water collection ponds, cattle sheds, a multi-purpose hall, solar-powered electricity, and poultry and fish cultivation. MarTheodosius also initiated the release of the Holy Kurbana Taksa, the regular worship orders, and the songbook in Marathi, which is the vernacular language of the believers in the mission fields. He also ensured that missionary achins are available in the region to provide pastoral care and render the sacraments for the believers. On December 9, 2019, MarTheodosius completed 30 years in his episcopal ministry, along with Right Reverend Dr. Joachim Mar Kurlos and the late lamented Right Reverend Geevarghese Mar Athanasius. On December 7, 2019, the Mumbai Diocese organized a salutatory function to celebrate the occasion at the St. John's Marthoma Church, Pune. The Most Reverend Dr. Joseph Marthoma Metropolitan was the chief guest, and bishops from sister churches and other dignitaries were also present. A festive volume titled Beyond Homogeneity, Identities, Mission, Recent Fundamentalism was published to commemorate the occasion.
Since July 1, 2020, MarTheodosius took charge as Episcopa of the Rani Nilakal Diocese, in addition to the responsibility of ministering to the Mumbai Diocese. On July 12, 2020, Right Reverend Dr. Geevarghese MarTheodosius was installed as the Suffragan Metropolitan of the Marthoma Syrian Church. Since then, MarTheodosius led various COVID-19 pandemic relief activities, which included the distribution of mobile phones and television sets to needy students, and the distribution of face shields to auto drivers. He also authored 2 books, Church and the New Normal, Ecclesial Imaginations for a New Humanity in English, and Adijeevanathinte Atma Chaitanyam in Malayalam. On 2nd October 2020, the late Dr. Joseph Marthoma Metropolitan designated MarTheodosius as the Metropolitan in charge to preside over meetings and assist the Metropolitan in the administration of church matters. As Metropolitan in charge, MarTheodosius led the dedication service of the St. Thomas Ecumenical Trust Nilakal, along with the bishops of all the member churches. On 28 October 2020, MarTheodosius participated in the installation service of Right Reverend Dushanto Lakshman Rodrigo as the 16th Bishop of the historic Diocese of Colombo of the Church of Ceylon. Upon the passing away of Dr. Joseph Marthoma Metropolitan into eternity on October 18, 2020, the Episcopal Synod, which met on October 27, 2020, and the Sabha Council, which met on November 6, 2020, decided to arrange the installation of MarTheodosius as the 22nd Marthoma Metropolitan on November 14, 2020. The entire Marthoma community and all God's people applaud Right Reverend Dr. Geevarghese MarTheodosius as he becomes the Marthoma 22 Metropolitan of the Marthoma Syrian Church. We pray that God's hand will guide him, bless him, protect him, and enable him to expand God's ministry.
The members and clergy of the Marthoma Church, wish and pray for the Lord Almighty to strengthen MarTheodosius to continue to lead the church. MarTheodosius is a dynamic personality with vision and zeal to serve the Lord and His church. He is a keen observer, an extremely hardworking individual, and a man of integrity. He is disciplined, optimistic, accountable, transparent, and sincere. He is an advocate of change and has no fear in experimenting with new initiatives in the mission and ministry of the church if it promotes God's kingdom values. MarTheodosius is adept at establishing a global presence of the Marthoma Church. In his own words, the challenge of the Marthoma Church in the 21st century is to assume its global nature by transcending the boundaries set by the familiar religion and culture. MarTheodosius's inclusive love for others and his enthusiasm to minister comes from the call of Christ. Love your neighbor as yourself, as stated in Mark chapter 12, verse 31. Right Reverend Dr. Geevarghese MarTheodosius is a church leader whose leadership decisions leave lasting imprints of God's